So B, let's talk about some outcomes, some results, some like stuff that you feel really proud of. You just want to touch on really quick. Like what stand out to you as far as like, whoa, these are great. These are great to me.
I mean, okay, so it's interesting. It's so much the journey that like I think I really loved about our time together. So like it's hard for
Yep.
me to like go right to the end of like whatever, but I'll do it. I'll do it. It would be,
Oh, but I just want to like I want to pinpoint
yeah.
that, right? Like the journey, the process. If people
Yeah.
can take that away, if we can fall in love with the journey, if we can fall in love with the process, that's really the nugget.
Yeah,
You
because
know,
I still use those things
the
today,
outcomes are going to
like
come. The results are going to come. They are.
I
They're by
agree.
nature of like falling in love with the process, the results, the
Yeah,
opportunities, they're going to come. That's how it's played out in my life.
totally
Um,
agree. And they go on like beyond whatever sort of, objective and key result or whatever, however you, whatever sort of framework you put that in, like you
yeah,
will, the sort of foundational stuff that comes up in your coaching, I think is like endures.
yeah.
Um,
Mm,
I was kind of reflecting on, I remembered a couple of like cool things you said. One thing that came up for me a lot, because I'm like a habitual problem solver. It's like, I
right,
look at everything as a problem to
right.
solve, which doesn't work well for things like romantic relationships or whatever, dealing with, friends with addiction problems or things like that.
Right.
But in the business context, when I was kind of facing these daunting things, like you would always kind of frame it as like problems are projects, like
Mm,
once you figure out that right sort of problem to solve, you make it actionable by kind of creating the structure around it, like a time frame, actionable goals, accountability. And that was like a lot of what we did was like going, oh my God, here's this gigantic thing that seems like impossible, or at least like, I don't know what the hell to do with this, and
yeah.
making it sort of, come into focus and then being able to take one step and then one step and then one step.
Right. Right.
Um, does that ring a bell? Do you even remember
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. I problems are projects. Absolutely. I still say that to this day. And
Nice.
it sounds like it sat with you because it sat with me when that insight occurred to me. Is,
Yeah.
when we have a certain type of energy, a lower frequency energy towards our challenges, yeah, they present as problems. They present as these big, gigantic mountains that are daunting and they're problems, they're burdening. But if
Yeah.
we kind of lift that frequency a little bit, if we kind of narrow it down, we get focused in on a little bit, they become projects, and projects are what? They're process oriented.
Mm-hmm.
They,
They're
they,
doable.
they're doable. They emerge qualities in us that we didn't know we had. Like, oh, I didn't know I could actually get curious or really enjoy this part of it. Like there's opportunities there, and looking at something as a project.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I still really value that idea. I think that like you're making me remember a bunch of stuff too about like some of it's relation based. Like you're really good at having insights into what's going on. Like with me anyway, it was like motives behind things, and like when I was having
Mm,
friction with say like my partner at that startup studio, there
yeah,
were just like personality things, and like if somebody's geared towards like taking quick action and someone else wants to consider things longer, like those things result as sort of like friction.
hmm,
But if you kind of notice them, which you're just like were so good at like calling out when I would just describe the kind of situation I was facing,
hmm,
it would then become you gain a lot of compassion for the people you're working with, and knowing that sort of like underlying game that's being played, it really is so much easier to have patience and like leverage everyone's best strengths, so you're not sort of like just kind of like having the worst parts of the most opposing parts kind of just bump into each other all the time.
yeah,
That was really really wonderful. Like you said one thing that was like, I remember my partner brought me into this sort of partnership to like to articulate the why of what we were doing, which I
right,
just love because I'm a creative, and like
yeah,
I love like that kind of thing of like, figuring out why are we doing something? It's
yeah.
not just
There's
like, let's
depth
take
there.
action and
Yeah,
go and
yeah,
we're there, it's like, which is so easy to do in the startup world for sure.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
It's a
you were
good
like,
trait.
where's the depth in this? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so, I'm someone who likes to do also. So like, it's not that I wasn't, I'm not just like sitting there, like thinking of ideas only or something, but it
Right.
was like, it was right. It felt very true at that time. And it gave me some sort of a leg to stand on in terms of like, what I could contribute and how to communicate that to my partner. And it always worked. Like it was, whenever I took an insight like that out, like it was so fun because I could apply it like the next day even, you know?
Mm-hmm.
This is what's fun about, if you're in process when you're, in a coaching,
Mm-hmm.
you get to like immediately start messing with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And making it your own, because like, you come up with one strategy and of course, you get into the real world and you got to adapt, but,
Right.
and then you bring that in the next time and you keep iterating, you keep kind of building on it and go, oh, that was an unexpected outcome. Like, what do we do now?
Yeah.